Hey Colton, how you doing? All right, so I've got your work up here. I didn't see any written um, summary, so let's just go ahead and jump right into the work. I think it's set up pretty well. There's a few areas I think that we can improve upon, but let me give you the way I'm reading those, and then we can take it from there. So we've got the introduction of the setting. Okay, so we've got the setting with the fish. All right, and then in comes the main character, and presumably he just got home and he's waving, hey, saying hi to his little buddy, his pet fish. Then he walks up to his little pet fish for a little bit more further interaction. At this point, right here, I don't know what's going on in this frame. It's almost impossible to decipher. I see the fish, but the fish is no longer in a bowl. He's in some kind of a square, and I don't know what this little square is over here. So really, really trying to figure out what's going on in this. But presumably the result of this frame and the transition of the occurrence between this and this is that somehow the fish bowl has broken. I'm guessing maybe he picked up his fish to say hi to his little buddy, and he dropped the bowl and broke it. Oh no, what do I do now? Then we see the fish on the ground out of water with the broken glass around him. So he's got to act quickly. Now, at this point, he comes back with an object. And I think at this point, it gets a little bit muddy. So where is he going from here? And where is he coming from in here? He's got an object in his hand, and presumably it's a water bottle, right? But where did he get it? And so there's a little bit of a unclear transition between this frame and this frame. So what I would recommend is in between this frame, I would have him maybe running over to the refrigerator, opening the refrigerator where he's getting the water bottle. That way it's not just kind of appearing out of nowhere, right? So over here, and then we have, this is another frame that's just kind of unclear. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here. Presumably he's putting the fish in the bottle. And then the last frame, I would say that the bottle goes back up where the fish bowl went, and then maybe somehow get back to the final frame of him, saying hi to his little fish buddy in his new home, the water bottle, right? Okay, so a couple of things that and let me just go ahead and make a couple of recommendations. So this frame and this frame I think can be combined. Right now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 frames, and that's a good amount. I think anything more than 12, we risk losing the audience. I think anything less than 10, and we risk an incomplete narrative. So I think 12 is perfect. Right now, I think we can add and take away some frames to make the narrative a little bit more clear. So this frame and this frame, I think, can be combined. So in other words, in introducing the setting, we're also introducing the two main characters in addition to the setting by introducing the guy, the fish, and the setting at the same time, right? So first frame is him maybe just getting home, saying, hi, little buddy. Of course, we can't use those words, but this, I think, covers that. Then he walks up to get a little closer with his little fish buddy. Then somehow we have to show how this thing got on the ground. As I said before, presumably he's going to pick up the fish bowl, or maybe he's just kind of tapping the fish bowl and it falls off. But anyway, that needs to be very, very clearly indicated. Okay, so then we have the fish on the ground flopping around. At this point, he says, oh no, right? So this part, he's freaking out because his little buddy is broken on the ground, right? So he's freaking out. Now at this point, I think in between this this frame, I don't think we need to reintroduce this frame right here. I mean, it's just reiterating the fact that the fish is on the ground, right? Or you can keep it if you want, but just think about this. So we've removed this frame, then we go, here's the frame where he's freaking out because his little buddy's on the ground. Then maybe we can introduce a frame here where he's like this, giving it one of these, like, what do I do now, right? Then maybe have another frame here where he's got a thought bubble and he's got the refrigerator in the thought bubble, and he's like this, aha, and then the thought bubble has just the refrigerator. Then this frame, we show him actually going into the same refrigerator that's in his thought bubble. That's making a connection between the problem and the solution. So he's at the refrigerator, opens the refrigerator, grabs a water bottle. Then let's have him running back. So this frame reversed. So he's headed this way, only with the bottle in his hand this time. Okay, and again, that's just reinforcing that he's attempting the solution, heading back to implement the solution to the problem. So we just reverse this frame, have him headed this way with the bottle in his hand. Then we have him putting the fish into the bottle, placing the bottle back on the frame, and then the final frame would be him all happy again, maybe a reiteration of this frame where he's all happy again with his fish, and his fish is on the table with its new home. Okay, from there, I don't think this is effective, these kind of squares. And the reason I say that is even though you're not confining the illustrations to the squares, I still think it creates a degree of separation from the main content, the main picture plane, as it were. My recommendation is to take these, break these out of their frames, and give them a relationship with the entire picture plane. And a great example of that is where I seem to have closed the window, but what I want is this window here, week 4. Wait a second, I'm so sorry. That's not even the correct frame. What I need to do is come back here. Let's go back here. Let's come over here. I'm so sorry. I should have had this set up before. I realized I had a different class up in my other window, so that, of course, isn't going to work. But what I go is I want to go here. I want to go to week 4 to the introduction. Common Everyday Hand Tool begin. Oh, darn it. I am so sorry. Let's go back to week 4. Common Everyday Hand Tool. Okay, yeah, it's week 4. Common Everyday Hand Tool begin. Okay, so as we go down here, these two are great examples of how to break your narrative out of these little squares. Okay, and the examples are this. As you can see, these are circles, but they're not, it's just basically a boundary for the illustration. So they're not confined to squares. Neither is this one. This one has an open relationship with the entire composition picture plane, and I think that's really effective as opposed to developing individual squares like we see in a comic strip. So I think that's more of an organic flow, and I think it's a really interesting way to allow the composition to have a relationship with basically with infinity, with the picture plane, as opposed to creating a degree of separation by placing each of the illustrations in its little separate box within the picture plane. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is figure out how to break these out of their boundaries. And then I think a really good idea is to connect the frames of the narrative with something from the problem or solution that makes sense and could be kind of fun. And my recommendation would be maybe water droplets. See these little water droplets when the fishbowl broke? Okay, I just figured out what this is. This is the fishbowl falling. So apparently he went to touch the fishbowl. It slid off and it's falling. Let's get some motion trails here and maybe something here to show it teetering. Okay, and then that just needs to be a little bit more clear. And we got to include him there too, because that'll define, maybe we can have he's still with his finger out like he touched the thing, and then maybe have him freaking out, like his face going, oh no, as this is teetering, then we show it land on the ground. Okay, but anyways, as I was saying, to remove these from their these kind of enclosed modules, and a great way to create a relationship, of course, is to use maybe water droplets, maybe even little goldfishes, but those might interfere. So maybe water droplets, just like the water droplets that are here on the ground, or maybe even pieces of broken glass. Something to connect these, like we see here. This is connected by the flight of the hornet. These ones are connected by the hairs from him shaving his beard with the machete. See what I'm saying? So it's adding, it's reinforcing meaning by adding something that's already there to use as a marker for the direction of the frames. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. Let me know if everything makes sense. If not, I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications, but I think it's a really good start. And just a couple of little areas I think we can improve on it. And and have this really, really a compelling narrative. So, of course, please, two things I want you to do from here is I want you to go ahead and review as many videos as you can, because there's certainly going to be um, comments that are going to reinforce some of the points I've made in your video, and plus, probably in addition, add some components that you could consider for addition or subtraction in your narrative. For sure, there's going to be comments that are relevant to your work. That's the point, right? So, so be sure to do that, and of course, let me know if you have any questions at all. All right, great job, Colton. Thank you so much for sharing.